here is a story for you, which right a long time ago, but you might like, and hopefully you can hear me. Once upon a time there was a prince who was arrogant and conceited. He wanted everything and anything when he wanted it, and not a minute later. If he couldn't have what he wanted, he flew into a frightful rage, and the courtiers muttered to themselves and withdrew to a safe distance while the prince spent his tantrum alternately crying and wailing that life was unfair and why couldn't he have what he wanted. The court grew accustomed to the prince's tantrums until one day a girl decided that enough was enough. She was attractive and wise and talented, and the prince liked to hear her sing ballads and paint for him, but he was very fond of the girl, and she was fond of him, in a way. One day the prince was being entertained by the girl with a new song she had written, when she stopped in mid-verse and sang no more. "Sing!" the prince commanded, and then he grew tearful. "Sing for me, please." The girl folded her arms. She knew what would happen next, and she was right. The prince jumped up, threw a vase across the throne room, and began to pace up and down with a face angry as thunder. "Sing, please! Sing, please!" Still the girl stood there. She didn't like the prince to be upset, but this was for his own good. After a while she said, "I'm going now. When you've learned to control your temper and respect yourself more, I shall sing for you again." And with that she departed the throne room and left the prince chewing his knuckles, sitting on the throne looking very disturbed. The courtiers asked the prince how he felt. The prince spent 3 hours bemoaning his lot and making remarks about the girl, the lack of singing, the lack of understanding, and how much he loved her. One courtier bowed very low and said, "It is quite possible she is right, my liege," and then retired to a safe distance. The prince, for a change, did not erupt into anger, but instead remained thoughtful. He departed the throne room and went to his chambers, where for the next month or so he wrote letters that had to be delivered by hawk to the girl who lived beyond the great wood. The girl replied to some but not all of his letters, and once she told him in firm terms that constantly demanding her affection and song without giving anything in return was bad for a commoner and unthinkable in a prince. The prince received the letter and rode off to visit the girl with a heavy heart. On his journey he met a woman who lived in the great wood and made gingerbread. He sought her advice. "Less is more, my lord," she said. "This is the truth. Go with your heart and not your head." The prince remounted and continued his journey. He had dressed in commoner clothes, as suited him so to do, and found work with the woodman of the forest. He hadn't worked for many months and found the work arduous. Each evening he wrote a letter that he sent by hawk that he had trained to come to him in the night. The girl's letters continued to be short, but she didn't reprove him so often, so he took that as a good sign. After 2 weeks he decided he had to journey on, left the woodman and finally emerged from the great wood. The girl lived in a house by a mill, and her father was a miller by trade. She was expecting him, as he had begged her to leave to visit, rather than just turn up out of the blue without asking. "Hello," the prince said, nervously, as the thunderstorm broke overhead. "I have come to visit. Perchance you may care to sing for me, or you may not wish to. All the same, I should like to bide a while in your company." The girl was thoughtful. Was this the same prince that flew into a tantrum when she refused to sing? She thought some more. I don't feel like singing right now. Maybe later," she said. The prince made a comment about the weather, as was his way. "That's not a problem," the prince said. They sat down to have some gingerbread that the prince had kept from his visit to the woman in the great wood, and they talked about many things. "It's late, sir. I'm tired," the girl said. The prince immediately stood up, bid his good night, and departed to the great wood, where he had built a small camp to live in. Over a period of time, with visits not every day, the prince and the girl got to know each other somewhat better than they had before and became good friends. Then one day the girl said that she would like to sing again, and sang the prince a song which she had kept hidden for a long time, one that she thought she would never sing, as she never thought the prince would change. And when she was done, the prince applauded loudly. The girl took her leave of the miller and rode to join the prince in his castle and live with him. Sometimes she would sing, and sometimes she would not, but the prince would bite his lip if she did not sing, and wrote instead.